This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by Tower Electronics. For connectors, cables, and more, call 920-435-2973 or visit pl-259.com. And by ICOM. Heard it, worked it, logged it. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information about ICOM radios.
It's Ham Radio.
Hey, good evening, everyone. It's time for Ham Talk Live. It's episode number 153. Ham Radio Dating Stories for Valentine's Day, recorded live on Thursday, February 14th, 2019. I'm your host, Neil Rapp, WB9VPG. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ham Talk Live. Tonight, it's open lines. We're going to take your ham radio dating stories, and we've got a bunch of them lined up here, so we're going to try to work them in. We've got a lot of schedules to play with, so I don't know what order we're going in, but we're going to figure this out. But we've got several, and we're gonna see what we get here tonight, and my phone's kind of going crazy here too because we're trying to figure out the order of things. So, if you have a ham radio dating story, give us a call. Here's the way it's going to work tonight. We actually have a call screener tonight. We have this new phone system we've been talking about that we're still kind of working out the bugs, but Marty, in 1C is our call screener tonight. He's set up all this, phone stuff. And so, he will take your calls and then he'll put you on hold and then we'll get a line going. So you can go ahead and call right now. And that number to call is 812-650-9556. Again, it's our temporary number, again tonight, 812-650-9556. Give that number a call. Marty in N1C will answer, and he will talk to you and get you in the list and let you know what's going on, and then we'll get to as many of these calls as we can tonight. So again, the phone number to call, 812-650-9556, and Marty will get everybody in line. Last week here on the show, Craig Thompson, K9CT, and Joe Fitter, K7JOE, were here to talk about the North American Collegiate Championships. If you missed that show, you can listen anytime at hamtalklive.com or on your favorite podcast app or YouTube, or you can catch the rebroadcast on WTWW 5085 AM. Saturday evenings, about 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So get your dating stories ready to go. Again, if you're listening to us live on Thursday night, you can give us a call at 812-650-9556. You can call in, talk to Marty. He'll put you on hold and let you know what's going on there. You can also tweet us. We've got a couple of them that were sent in by email and tweet. So I won't have time to check the email here, but we'll check the tweets at Ham Talk Live. So if you have one you want to send in, you can do that. So I'll be back with some of our couples that'll get the ball rolling and dating stories right after this word from Tower Electronics right here on Ham Talk Live.
Is this getting serious?
I think so.
Well, how do you feel about it? Just imagine if you hadn't run out of PL259s.
Just imagine if your connectors weren't from Tower Electronics.
Consider the sophisticated quality of connectors from Tower Electronics. Their silver-plated in connectors are so good, they've even been used on the International Space Station.
I'm not so sure why I ever used any other PL259s.
Mine are better. Besides, you deserve the best. You know I love you.
Don't be caught without PL259s. Visit Tower Electronics at a Hamfest near you, or visit them online anytime at pl-259.com or call 920-435-2973. They also have ham sticks, mobile antennas, and meters too. See the whole catalog. Go to pl-259.com. Tower Electronics, the ham's dime store since 1978.
You're listening to Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp. Your QTH or mine?
Thanks to Scott and Jill at Tower Electronics for sponsoring the show tonight to help bring you Ham Talk Live. They will be at Dalton, Georgia on February 23rd, and March 2nd, Cave City, Kentucky, March 16th, Toledo, Ohio, and March 30th, Sevierville, Tennessee. Or you can catch them anytime online at pl-259.com. Well, we've got some calls lined up here tonight, and our first caller tonight is Amanda, K1DDN. Good evening, Amanda.
Good evening. You have me and Jeff here on the line. Say hello, Jeff.
Hello.
And,
Hello, Jeff.
So nice to join you tonight. And Jeff was just mentioning sorry, somebody wanted to call me. Apologies. We were listening, and Jeff said, that sounds like All-Star that Neil's got, or Asterisk, excuse me, that you have on your PBX. Is that true?
Oh, I have no idea. You'll have to ask Marty. He did all that.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, it sounded very, very familiar to Jeff, so it sounds like our system a lot on our phone.
Yeah, it probably is. So, well, yeah, tell us about you and Jeff. Some ham radio dating stories.
Well, let's see. Are they nightmares or are they happy endings?
Oh, no, either one. Either one.
Sometimes it's pretty hard to share a shack. During a contest, if I want to be serious about it or if Jeff wants to be, it's hard to share the radio a little bit. But we tend to make it work and have fun. And also another thing is it's hard to find logging software where you can have multiple call signs running at the same time and log. I don't know what you use. What do you use?
I use DX Keeper as my main log. I actually do the same thing Val does. I have this like convoluted system of I put my satellite contacts in TQSL and then like move them over into DX Keeper and N1MM and then move it into DX Keeper, and it's kind of the same system she does actually.
Yeah. Some of the other things, I think Jeff could tell this story best about irritation of a YL making a contact before a guy. What do you think, Jeff?
You always get through first?
Yes, that might be the one.
Yeah, it's pretty rare when I win a pilot before Amanda, I'll tell you that. It happens every now and then, but it's rare.
Yeah?
Yeah, I've always heard that YL voice is an extra 3 dB at least, so.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it works.
I know, because I try to turn the amp up an extra 3 dB and it doesn't help.
He does. It's funny how he's like, hey, don't be pushing the amp. Don't push the amp, sweetheart. Just keep it down. Keep it down. And then all of a sudden when he can't make a contact, he's in the back of it adjusting the ALC and turning that sucker up. I mean, really? But
I can't deny that.
I guess you do what you have to do. One of our sweetest stories was kind of being invited on Ham Nation for the first time, which was on Valentine's Day back in 2010. I think that was pretty fun. And I'll tell you a funny story. We all know Bob Heil. Well, guess what? I didn't at the time. And he sent me an email, and I told Jeff, I said, Jeff, I don't know, this Bob Heil guy just sent me an email and asked me to be on a show with him. Who is he? And Jeff fell out of his chair. He couldn't believe it.
I didn't believe it. I had to see the email, and
He
then I
did
still
not.
didn't believe it until she called him. But yeah, it was amazing.
But otherwise we typically get along. There's things that I know. Like, we just did this event last weekend, the Snow Queen. And we bring out the QRV, the quick what do we call it? Quick response van, and or vehicle, and it's our comm van basically. And so there's a lot of cuss words thrown when Jeff's setting it up and getting everything connected. And I know to just stay out. I just give him a half an hour, let him set it up, and then I can start bugging him about, are we ready? Are we ready to rock and roll? We've got to support this. Let's go. But what we actually managed to work pretty good together. Don't you think, Jeff?
I think so. We do.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And I think that we influence a lot of other people to get involved. So
I would hope so.
Yeah, it's great. In fact, we're about to go down to Walsh, Colorado, which is about 4 hours away, and get a bunch of hams, or soon-to-be hams, licensed. We're teaching a class over there. Nobody's ever heard of Walsh, Colorado, because it's very, very small.
Well, I got a couple of questions for you, but how did you and Jeff meet? How did that work?
So we used to all be roommates back in the day. Boy, when was that? Maybe 2001, 2002. There was 3 of us that were roommates together, and that's where we first met. And then I moved out and moved to a different town, and about 4 years later, he ended up in my same town, and I needed IT help. So when I heard he was in town, he was the guy that I called. And he came over to the print shop, and he got our network together and set up our server and our email server and all of that good stuff. And, just your typical, we were just hanging out a lot, so one thing became to another. And he'd always been interested in getting his ham license. He got licensed in 2007. And another funny thing is him and one of our good friends were studying together in our very, very tiny apartment. And so I couldn't help but always catch all of their study sessions. And Jeff was like, well, I'd like you to get licensed as well. And I said, I'm not really interested. You guys are too geeky for me. And he said, yeah, you probably wouldn't be able to pass it anyways. So that was it. That was it.
Okay. Now my other question, and I didn't do this, and I'm not going to incriminate anybody because I know this story, but what would you have done if you and Jeff went out to a movie and Jeff brought his HT along?
I think he has.
Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah?
I'm pretty sure he has.
So that's okay.
As long as it's turned off.
Oh, okay. As long as it's turned off.
Yeah, he can bring it as long as it's turned off.
So that way, if you have like a weather emergency, you're prepared, right?
That's absolutely right. Or whatever kind of emergency, the electricity goes out and we need to get out quickly. He's going to be on the radio listening to the traffic. So I guarantee it. I'm pretty flexible on that, actually.
She's actually worse than me. She's an assistant to our local emergency manager, so he gave her this radio. And we're in one of those counties where all.
Oh, we've lost you there for a second, Jeff. Okay, I think we've lost Jeff here, so we'll have to try it again. Jeff, you there? Okay, I think we lost the signal on Jeff here, so we will move along here. But Amanda and Jeff, thanks for calling in and sharing those stories with us. And a note from Marty here is if you called in, he lost some people along the way. So if you called in and you're not in line, go ahead and give us a call at 812-650-9556. Sorry about the bug in the system there, but if you didn't get picked up, just call back. We'll get you in line here as soon as we can. And let's see if we can get another call in here. And it looks like, okay, we've got a call on Skype. So let's see what we've got here. Hello, welcome to Ham Talk Live.
Oh. Hey, I just wanted to call in. I saw your topic on Twitter earlier, and I wanted to pass along our story. My wife, before she was my wife, is I guess we were dating and talking on the phone a lot back in the early 90s when cell phones were by the minute. And she saw I always had this radio around and thought maybe it'd be a good idea for her to get her ham license. So she studied, took her test, got a ham license, and then I was out of college before she was. And then we used ham radio to spend a lot of hours talking with one another instead of using cell phones. So it's kind of an interesting thing as a part of our relationship. So when we got married, the pastor made a comment that he knew that she was getting pretty serious when she started talking about radios. So she was the English major and I was the engineer. So it worked out real well.
Oh, that's great. Who do we have here, by the way?
Yeah, this is Tom, N4HZX.
All right, Tom. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. And there's just all kinds of stories out there, and that's what we're after tonight. So thanks for giving us a call.
Yeah, she still she still carries a radio with her, more for just emergency purposes. She doesn't get the fun out of talking that she used to, but she's all current and still enjoys it. And I'm still very active in the hobby. But thought that was an interesting story and got us off to a good start. And ham radio played a very major role in that. I find a nice simplex frequency and unlimited talk time. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I would have really liked to have that because it was just unlimited, like you said, free talking when you don't have to pay long distance. And I've done that long distance thing quite a bit. So, yeah, that would have been great. Well, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it.
Okay, good show. Thanks a lot. You take care.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. All right, 812-650-9556 is the phone number, and apparently the phone system crashed. So, sorry, but if you would, call back and get in on the number here. We're going to try to get this set up again. 812-650-9556 is the number. 812-650-9556. And I think we've got the phone system back up and running now, but we need people to call back. So sorry about the technical problems here tonight, but give us a call and we'll get that going on. Okay, let's see. Oh, Troy, W9KVR says, true love is having a wife who understands that you need to operate at the school on Valentine's Day during school club roundup every year. And it also doesn't hurt that his father-in-law operates as well. And yeah, I get that. The school club roundup's always the week of Valentine's Day. And so you always have to kind of juggle the system around a little bit to make that work out. Okay, well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break here and we're going to get everybody lined back up here in the queue and get things going here. And we've got some more stories that were sent in earlier that we can go to as well. So let's do that. Let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll get the phones all running again. So we'll be back after this word from I Call America right here on Ham Talk Live. Create your own band opening. ICOM's newest SDR transceiver, the IC9700, is coming soon. This new radio is bringing direct sampling to the UHF VHF weak signal world. The IC9700 all-mode transceiver is loaded with innovative features such as dedicated amateur satellite operation, color touchscreen, D-Star capability built in, RF direct sampling on the 2-meter and 70-centimeter bands, dual independent receivers capable of full duplex operation, as well as dual watch, and maximum output power of 100 watts on 2 meters, 75 watts on 70 centimeters, and 10 watts on 1.2 gigahertz. Visit www.icomamerica.com/amateur for more information on ICOM radios.
Is it getting hot in here, or is that just your amplifier? You're listening to Ham Talk Live with Neil Rapp.
All right, thanks to ICOM America for bringing the show to you every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at hamtalklive.com, and be sure to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I think we've got our call system set back up again, so that phone number again, 812-650-9556, or tweet us at Ham Talk Live. And if you're listening to us on WTWW or the podcast edition, you won't be able to reach us live since the show was on Thursday. So next on our list here, we have Val in V9L and Jerry, WB9Z. Good evening, Val, and good evening, Jerry.
Hello. Well, Val's got the phone right now. Hey, I wanted to let Amanda know we have that same trouble, too, with the logging software. I have to keep my DX Lab suite on 2 different computers, but anyway. Yeah, so everybody probably already heard the story of me and Jerry. You know, how I met him at W9DXCC. I just started DXing, and he gave a presentation. He had just come back from South Orkney. And so I met him at the hospitality suite. I got to talk to him a little bit, but a couple months later, I was doing CQ Worldwide sideband, and I was doing 10 meters only low power. He was 10 meters only high power, and I bumped into him on frequency. And so then we started talking and texting and emailing. But it wasn't until probably February that he asked me if I would be his date at the DX dinner at Dayton, like 3 months later. He asked me in February to be a date in May on Friday night. So I accepted, and the same day, another ham, who will remain nameless, asked me if I would be his date in Dayton 3 months later, Saturday night. So the second guy, I was like, all right, who is this guy? So I knew him a little bit from Facebook, so I Googled him, and the first picture that pops up is him and Jerry sitting at a bar in a foreign country having a beer. They had been on a de-expedition together. And I'm like, okay, these 2 guys have a bet on me, don't they? And I was sure they had a bet on me. But anyway, so I ended up dating Jerry St. Patty's Day. So we ended up going out earlier than that May, Dayton thing. And then it started getting serious, so I had to cancel the second date, that Saturday night date. But anyway, I thought that was kind of funny that another ham had asked me out, and they both knew each other, but they swear it wasn't a bet. But and then I have one other thing. Before I met Jerry, when I was still separated, I wasn't quite divorced yet, so I was checking out that Match.com thing, and being the cheap ham that I am, a.k.a. single mom, I thought, well, you have to, they kind of give you a brief. They give you a picture and a little bit about the guy, but if you want to, email them or chat with them, you have to pay the fee. Well, I was looking at this one guy, and it said that he liked ham. I did a search for ham radio men. So I was living in Wisconsin at the time, and I found this one guy in Michigan who will remain nameless. And it said he was into ham radio, and it gave his first name and his town. So I went into QRZ, looked up, you can search by address and name. So I looked up his first name and his town, and there's like a few of them. So I checked them all out, and there, lo and behold, he had a picture of himself on there, and it matched the picture on the thing. So I emailed him, and I was able to communicate with him, and we started calling each other. We never actually went on a date, but I was able to get around the paying the fee on, I can't remember if it was Match.com or one of those services, but those are my ham radio dating stories. So I don't know if you want to get on and add anything to it, Jerry. Jerry's kind of chicken. He didn't want to get on.
I really don't have anything to add.
He's got horror stories from his ex-wife of when she'd like cut his beverages when she was mad at him.
Oh, no.
But that do beverage receive antennas. But no, we're very happy, and thank God for ham radio, or I never would have met him. So I'm very happy for ham radio. So love is in the air, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So I'll let some more ham stories come on, and I'll let you guys go. But I thought I'd share some of those.
All right. Well, thanks, Val, and thanks, Jerry. Appreciate you calling in.
Wait,
and,
Jerry wants
and sharing.
to say one more
okay.
thing.
All right, Jerry.
Okay, hang on.
You can get a word in edgewise, Jerry.
Hey, it's impossible to do that. Hey, I just want to say hi to our good friend, Dr. Scott Wright, down on Turks and Caicos right now. I bet he's listening somehow or another. He's listening.
Yeah, he actually I talked to him earlier. He actually is in Kentucky at the moment. So.
Oh, he is? No,
yeah.
He hasn't made it down to Turks and Caicos yet because he's supposed to be on for the contest.
We'll have to talk about that off the air.
Okay.
We'll merge.
Okay, Roger that. Okay.
So, yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, he's.
Okay.
I'm sure he's.
You're
listening.
having a great show tonight. You're having a great show tonight. Jerry. So continue on, Neil. Always good to say hello to you.
Okay. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate
73s.
it. 7-3. Okay, well, we've got several calls here, and I believe we've got Liz coming up next here, if I remember correctly. So let's see if we've got that. Okay, I think we've got it. Hello.
Here.
Welcome to Ham Talk Live.
Hi, this is Liz, Kilo Golf 5, Oscar November Bravo with Kilo Golf 5, Golf Juliet Tango. We are rolling down the Mississippi River on the Natchez Steamboat.
All right, Liz. Yeah, Liz and Brian are on a little jazz dinner cruise kind of thing going on, calling in from the Mississippi River. So let's hear your story, Liz. You've got your license, KG50NB, and Brian and Brian likes to stir up trouble on the satellites, I know. So let's hear some of these some of the dating stories.
Well, we've been married 23 years, and we've been together 26 years, and we just got licensed. Brian just got licensed 4 years ago, and I was licensed around 3 years ago. And I guess the bad is that, when we went on our anniversary trip, he needed to do a grid for people that needed Natchez, Mississippi. And he was like, you don't mind, don't you? I'm like, oh, no, that's fine. Whatever, we have a spare minute, you can go do that. And then he did it, immediately when we got there. And then when we finished our dinner, he was like, okay, I'm going to go do a pass at 11 o'clock. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, what? So I guess that would be the bad part. But the good part is, things like this where we, we're calling into the show and it's fun. We're on our little adventure here on the Natchez, but we're still having fun. So, yeah.
Well, thanks.
Good.
Thanks for calling. I again apologize for all the phone difficulties here tonight. I know you guys are on a tight schedule because you want to enjoy your cruise there. But one question I have to ask here is that Brian on Twitter is always saying that he's the captain. So is he really the captain?
Yeah, he's the captain.
He's the captain. Okay. All right. We just wondered about that because we're thinking maybe Liz was in charge, but.
Yeah, no, he can be the captain. It's fine. I'll
Okay.
let him be the captain.
All right, he's going to be the captain. All right, Brian,
All right,
get
you wanna
a word in here, Brian. Yep.
Hold on.
Hello.
Okay, so Brian, it's okay to do those 11 o'clock satellite passes. That's okay.
It's approved because I'm the captain, Neil. I tell you, we're having a good time on this cruise, though, Neil. It's a lot of fun and a lot of sights to see on the river.
Well, that's really cool. Well, enjoy your Valentine's Day. Thanks for calling in. I'll let you get back to the dinner and music and all that stuff to going down the river. Great choice, by the way. That was a good choice there. So, thanks for calling in.
All right,
yeah,
Neil, I
go
got to
ahead.
say one thing, that Liz is, I couldn't do it without her, and I love her very much, and we've been together a long time, and I'm lucky to have her.
Well, there you go. Can't ask for much more than that.
All right, Neil.
Thanks
have a
for
good
calling,
Valentine's
Brian.
Day, all right.
Okay,
have an
you too. And Liz, thanks a lot for calling in. KG5GJT and Liz, KG5ONB, thanks for calling in. And I think we've got some more on the line here. So let's see what we have here. And Carl, KD9HQT, says he's ready for love on the ionosphere. So let's see what we get here. And I believe we have Carol. Is this Carol?
This is Amanda.
Oh, this is Amanda. Oh, Amanda's back. Okay.
Yeah, if you need to take Carol though, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Yeah, we lost Jeff there. He was talking about the handheld you had.
Oh yeah, the one that she's addicted to. That was it. It's kind of funny.
I'm addicted to police bands. That's all I can say. Other than that, I just thought that Liz and Brian were so cute. Brian is so sweet. And while we were muted on hold, and I can't cuss on the show because it's a show, I said, how come you don't say bleep like that to me? So, yeah, they are so sweet. I guess that's just not us. I thought that was neat that they joined in during their cruise. I would like to say there was one time, the scariest part of ham radio was one time when Jeff went to one of his repeater sites and they had a break-in. And there was two criminals inside, stealing copper or whatever. They're stripping wires out of the building and everything.
Oh,
it's an
no.
old AT&T long wire site. I don't know if anyone's familiar with those.
Yeah, I've been to some of those.
And huge concrete buildings, very vast and scary in the dark, let's put it that way. But these guys were there. And the Jeff and his crew show out there to do some work and to secure it a little bit better. And they called the cops, and the cops took these two criminals down. Well, it ends up they didn't secure everything, and they all went inside the building, and I could see it on the security camera. So I'm watching live. I'm watching them. And one more guy comes out of the woods and jumps in a car that was there and drives off. But everybody is in this blind spot, including the deputy that was there. And I didn't know if they had all been mowed down by this guy or what. And scariest moment in my life. And there's no cell coverage out there. There is DTR there because that site is right next door. But I was screaming on ham radio, and nobody answered me.
Well,
the one time you didn't have your HT, Jeff.
No, because the repeater that I needed to hear her was there, and they shut it off because they were stealing the wires. Yeah. So she was screaming on the radio, and we couldn't hear her, and we were fine. But I get it. It was yeah.
It was a very scary moment, really.
Yeah, I had a feed line pulled off of one of my repeater sites.
Oh, really?
They stole it. Yeah, but but it was on them because it was an aluminum feed line.
Oh, dang!
It would have been
so
funnier
the joke was on them. Yeah.
So, Neil, you have repeaters as well?
Well, I did. I just got out of the repeater business here about a year ago. Just not enough time to take care of them, and they were scattered all over the place. So, but I did that for about 20 years. So, yeah.
Money, money, money. And
Exactly.
it's not even the money part. It's mostly the technical side anymore, and finding people that know IT stuff, networking and et cetera anymore to go out and work on them. That's usually the problem, not anything, easy to fix. So,
Yeah.
But
well,
I'm
that's
used to asking the questions.
yeah. The tables have turned. Well, thanks for calling back, Jeff and Amanda. Appreciate it, and have a great Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Neil. It was so great to be here tonight, and hello to all of your viewers. And then after listening to Liz again, I realized I screwed this all up. I'm just used to being on camera. So, hello, my name's Amanda. Call is K1GN. I'm in Canyon City, Colorado. Jeff?
K0JSC, we get it.
Okay, so good night, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we don't have lower thirds on radio, so.
I know.
All right, thanks, you two. Appreciate it. Have a great Valentine's Day.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. 73, everyone.
All right, 7-3. All right, well, I think we've got another call here, so let's see if we can get that switched over. And from the area code, I'm guessing this is Carol.
Yes, it is. This is Carol. I'm in Moorhead, Kentucky, and my call is Kilo 4 Sierra Alpha Foxtrot.
All right.
AF.
Well, Carol, thank you so much for calling in. And by the way, Carol in KC9URR says hello. She came into school to relieve me a little earlier tonight, along with her husband, Plato. And she said, you have to talk to Carol because Carol has a great ham radio dating story. So tell us your story about CW.
Yes. This happened a long time ago, but a 53-year-old marriage, resulted from it. But I got my license when I was 15. September 28th, 1957. And my first day on the air, of course, I was very excited to get on the air, and I was a novice, so it was CW. And my second contact was K4GFY, Kilo 4 Golf Foxtrot Yankee, and he was from Kentucky. He was in the Air Force. His name's Don. He was in the Air Force, and he was home on leave at his parents' home, and he had a ham radio set up there. So he was my second contact, and I still have my logbook, and I looked in it in anticipation of talking to you. And I talked to him at 4:46 p.m. on 3725 in the 80 meter band.
And this was all CW.
It was CW because I was a novice. He had had his license about 3 years, and of course I was a novice, so I had to be on CW there for a whole year before I finally got my general license. And so we didn't talk too long, and there was nothing, spectacular about it. I asked him later, after we were married, I asked him how my CW was on that first contact, and he said, well, it wasn't all that great. It wasn't. Of course, I felt it was great, but I was nervous. I was nervous with my first contacts. So I turned 16 2 days later. I got my license at 15, but 2 days later I turned 16. So he was in the Air Force, and we didn't see each other very much or talk very much until I was a senior in high school, and then of course he was stationed different places, and I was in college then for 2 years. So I knew him and talked to him and saw him some over a period of 5 years, and 5 years after we met with that first contact, we did get married, and he was an Air Force career person, so we lived all over the USA, and he always set up a ham station in base housing, put up antennas. I don't know how he got away with all that, but he did. He did. He always managed to have some sort of an antenna. But I was busy with 3 children and just taking care of a family, so I wasn't very active for many years. So he retired, and we moved here to Kentucky. And we had more or less his and her stations in the last few years. His was much more sophisticated than mine. But he took care of all the antennas, and anytime I had a problem, he was right there to fix it. And so that worked out well for us. It's kind of like couples now, each having their own computer, I think. I think that works out better. But we have 3 children. Now, my husband, Don, K4GFY, he's a silent key. He passed away August 2015. So just short of our 53rd wedding anniversary.
Oh, wow. Well, that's just such a neat story that you guys actually met on CW. So you didn't even have a voice to go on. And you just started talking, and,
right.
and one thing led to another, and here you are now, and had 53 years of marriage.
Right. And it was a couple of years before I met him. Like I like to say, it really wasn't love at first daw. It was
That's a great line.
Yeah, it wasn't love at first daw. It was a couple of years before I actually met him, because I was quite young, and my father and my brother, they were both hams, and they pretty much got me into it. So we were a ham family. And one thing I was just thinking about the CW back in those days, this was 57 when I got on, we had crystals. We were crystal controlled. And I remember we'd have one crystal down in the CW band, and maybe one crystal up in the phone band on 80 and 40. And I think I remember working 15. So, I was probably on the air for a couple of years, just crystal controlled. And then we did get a better rig and a VFO and so forth.
Now he didn't use a quartz crystal for the ring, did he?
No, I think it's real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I believe it was real. I believe
you just rip one of those crystals open and get a little piece of quartz out of there, and
well, I hadn't thought about that. But now our oldest son, who lives in Wisconsin, he has his dad's call now. He had a general call, so I pretty much insisted that he go ahead and apply for his dad's call. So he's now K4GFY. And I do have a daughter in Arizona. She is not a ham. But I've been trying to encourage her to get her technician so that someday when my key goes silent, hopefully she could get my call, but I don't know if that's going to work out.
Well, you just never know. I mean, you never know. You work somebody in CW and then you end up married. So
exactly.
Anything can happen.
Yeah. Well, we had a long, happy marriage, and so it's kind of like nowadays, I guess, with the internet, in a way, you never know what can happen when different kinds of communication bring people together.
Well, that's a great story, Carol. Thanks so much for coming on and telling us all about it.
Well,
and enjoy the rest of your Valentine's Day. And we really appreciate you taking the time to tell your story.
Oh, yeah, and I'm still active. I'm still on CW. That's my mode of being on ham radio. I'm still on CW.
Yeah, your mode of choice. Very good.
It is. It really is. I really like it. All right, Neil. Well, it's so great to talk to you, and thank you very much.
All right, Carol. Take care. 7-3.
All right, 73 to you and everybody else.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay, wow, we've had a busy show here tonight, and I've still got some more here on email. So wow, there's a lot going on here on Twitter too here. So let's see. Let's finish off with a couple of these stories here. We'll finish it off tonight. First of all, Scott, KB9AMM, and Jill, KB9PZF from Tower Electronics, had a cool story. Scott writes, Jill and I met on the CB radio back in 1976. She lived on the east side of town. I lived on the west side, and I drove across town in my 1962 Ford Falcon. It overheated on the way across town, a thing it did quite often, and he met her at Dairy Queen down by the river, spent many nights talking to her on the radio after that, and had a wonderful time. And they got married in April of 1980 because her mother would not let them leave town together without being married, and they wanted to go, yes, to Dayton. And so that was back when the Hamvention was in April. And so they got married and took off to Dayton. They honeymooned in a Pontiac Phoenix in the parking lot of Hara Arena. And their big meal, it was at the Denny's, located across the street from Hara Arena. So, wow. How about that story? And then JW5WHN writes in, my wife, WB5LYJ, and I met via amateur radio about 45 years ago at a 1973 Christmas party hosted by another ham, WB5EGD, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And they've been married for over 40 years. And Jay says his most memorable field day was in 1974. He was a young Navy radio man who was waiting discharge and had met up with several other U.S. Navy personnel at K6NCG, and that's Treasure Island, California Amateur Radio Club, in the same situation. All of us at the Treasure Island ARC were licensed amateur radio operators, and we decided to go operate field day from a location that included an abandoned lookout station near Sacramento. And on June 23rd, 1974, field day, early in the morning on 75 meters, he was sleeping on a cot near the sideband station and got a slight tap on his shoulder and was informed, turn to sailor, someone would like to talk to you in New Mexico. And the person using the distant microphone was a young lady that he'd met at that 1973 Christmas party of WB5EGDs. And it was WN5LYJ at the time, operating with a field day group set up at K5CQH's QTH on the east side in the woods. And all I heard was, Jay, and I had replied yes, and they proceeded to chat for 15 minutes. The signals were excellent, and after they talked, he had a big smile on his face, knowing that he would be home in a few months and be able to participate in Field Day 75 from New Mexico. So now WN5LYJ is WB5LYJ, and they were married in 1977. So just all kinds of stories here, and Wow. Okay. Now, I was going to end here, and now Julie's giving me a hard time. Julie, I was trying to get her to come on the show, and she's always saying, you should have me on the show. You can fill in, and if I have somebody cancel last minute or something, I say, okay, Julie, you're going on the air. And then I was planning on this tonight to have Julie end the show here and come on. And she was like, oh, I don't know if I want to, get on the radio and everything. And so, well, so she's at this meeting and says she can't call in, but she sends her regards to everyone. And we'll end with a little bit of a story. Saturday night, this past Saturday, Julie and I went down to Lexington, Kentucky, and went to a place called the Kentucky Castle. So shout out to the Kentucky Castle folks. And we went down there for dinner, and we got there a little early and walked around a little bit and went up to the rooftop, and I asked her to marry me, and she said yes. So, Julie and I are engaged now. We've been kind of keeping it low key here for a few days, but Julie's been to Huntsville a couple of times, to Dayton a couple of times. So, and she gets these road trips where I have to, okay, there's a satellite pass in 5 minutes. I have to, I got to get my satellite pass in. So she puts up with that and my visits to Disney Amateur Radio Club and Kennedy Space Center and all this stuff. So Julie, thank you for putting up with my ham radio habit. And so we're engaged now, so we'll see how that works out, but on timing, but because we don't have a plan yet, but we'll figure that out, and we're supposed to get some pictures here over the weekend, maybe from that, so we may post a couple of those. But anyway, wanted to share that news with you today, being Valentine's Day and all. We wanted to get that out there. So, thank you all. And some of you keep asking, well, where's that ring? Well, she's got one now. So we took care of that. So anyway, we will finish things up here tonight with that. And, that is going to be a wrap. And so is Julie, actually, I guess. But that's a wrap for this week's Ham Talk Live. Thanks to everybody out there in cyberspace for listening and calling in. Next week, we don't have a show next week. Sorry, I've got a basketball game to announce. It happens once a year on a Thursday, and so I'm not going to be around next week. But in 2 weeks, we'll be back. So I invite you back on Thursday, February 28th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Sean Kutzko, KX9X, will be here to talk about several portable operations, the Canadian national parks on the air, the U.S. islands, a thing called CT90. You'll have to tune in to find out what that is, and a whole lot more. And so next week on WTWW, we'll replay episode 99 with Rob Sherwood, NC0B, talking about receiver comparisons, because we won't have a new show to play. So make sure to listen for us in 2 weeks. So we'll miss you next week, but we'll be back on the 28th with a brand new episode with Sean Kutzko, KX9X. And for a list of all of our upcoming guests, visit hamtalklive.com. And if you like Ham Talk Live, please consider leaving us a review on iTunes or wherever you listen. It helps others find us faster. So for now, this is Neil Rapp, WB9VPG, saying Happy Valentine's Day. 7375, and may the good DX be yours.
7-3 and good luck from Ham Talk Live.